So I've got my little experiment shelf here going on. I got my brine shrimp. I've got algae water for my Daphnia in the back there. My Amano shrimp containers for those little berried Amano shrimp that are going to be laying eggs. And then they go in here. This is awesome. Oh, come on, focus. Focus. You're killing me, Smalls. Oh, this sucks. Hold on a second. Okay, got it. That right there, all of these really, are all Amano shrimp larvae. Those little ones are the ones I put in yesterday, so they are probably 2 days old now. These other bigger ones here are just about a week old, and they're thriving. I know you can't see it, but there's at least 1,000, if not 1,500 larvae in there. Oh, come on, there we go. Yeah. 5 gallon tank. There's at least 1,500 of those in there. I've got another possible 1,000 there, another possible 1,000 there, depending on, these are their first batches, so they're probably laying on the smaller amount. Each Amano shrimp can lay 1,000 to 3,000 eggs. Being that this is their first clutch, I'm sure they're on the lower end. But there are 2 Amano shrimps worth of eggs in this tank here, and they are thriving. They're not focusing, but they're thriving. Anyway, I've got their phytoplankton here growing so that I can feed them, keep them fed. So we're going on week 2 here with these little boys and girls. They're looking really good, getting really big, and bountiful. They love the light. Phototaxis. I harvested my 2 gallons worth of Nanochloropsis. I got 14 of these 16-ounce containers out of them, so I'm going to dump one of these back into this tank right now. I did a little bit of a water change, and what I did was I have a little tiny mesh seine net that I just put in there, and then I suck the water out of the net so I don't suck up any of the Amano. So I'm going to go ahead and top off with fresh phytoplankton since I can see through the tank. They're eating all the stuff that's there. I should probably go ahead and turn up the light length of this light. I've got it at 4 hours a day. I just didn't want it to get overwhelmed with phytoplankton, but you can see a bloom right there, which means it is starting to reproduce. So I'll put this in, see how 4 hours does. I'll add a little bit of nutrients so that it has something to feed on. And if 4 hours doesn't keep it where it needs to be, I can either add some more or I can lengthen the time of light. So I'm in here this morning and I'm doing an update on my phytoplankton, and my Amano mama that was in here, well, that is in here, threw her eggs last night. So there are little tiny little white specks floating around. So I've got to get this water out. I've already drained a little bit of water from my brackish water Amano tank. So now I've got tweezers. I'm gonna go ahead and get the little ball out, pull the air line out, I'll pull a little heater out, and then I will get my micro net. I'll scoop her out. And this water I keep at the upper limit of the salinity level. So now I can just pour that fresh water in here. It'll drop the salinity. That way, as the water evaporates through the bubbling and the heat and all that stuff, the water will come out, the salinity will go back up. So this is a way I can actually kind of keep all that in line. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this shrimp ball out, net her out, get the heater out, and then dump the new Amano babies in here. So I released the Amano back into her tank. She's there. But I noticed something when I let her go. Now she's still probably got 30 or 40 eggs on her. But I got the majority of them out. I didn't want them to sit very long, so she can release the rest in here. It's no big deal. But I was looking around, and I have another berried Amano shrimp. So I'm gonna have to get her out within the next 4 or 5 days. So I'm gonna have to get another little tank set up for her. I'll get her out of there and isolate her for the eggs. I'm gonna have to get some more tanks. Now I have got everything moved over to the new rack. So I'm gonna have my green water buckets, my Daphnia magna storage. I've got my sea salt in the back there. This one is going to be my Amano shrimp tank, the Amano shrimplets grow out tanks. I still have to make lids. And then this one is not done, but this tank here has paint on the side, back, and other side, so I couldn't transition it this way without seeing. So when these grow out, I will be moving those shrimplets down here. When that is clean, I will scrape the sides off, or at least one side, and that's gonna go back to being a brine shrimp tank. And then I'll just move that over, and there will be 4 tanks in line here. I put up a power strip here, and then each tank will have its own heater. And then on the back of each one of those little heater controllers is I put a command power strip adhesive, and got them sitting right below the outlets, and they're going to be in line. So there's going to be 6 devices here, these 4, and then there'll be a couple here for like this bowl. They'll be for the Amanos when they grow out. They'll have somewhere that they can release their eggs. And then I put my Artemia blender, the brine strip blender here. I gotta clean that out. And for right now, I've got this phytoplankton growing here. This is the one I'm doing the updates on, and I just have the light shining on it from here. So it's a LED light, so it's not hot. It's no big deal, it's just light. I'm doing a water change on this 20-gallon long for the shrimp. See them in there. Anyway, I put in some cherry shrimp. There's only 10 of them in there, but that's a new tank, new driftwood, new rocks, new soil, everything. There's no bacteria in there. So took one of my old filters, my Tetra tank. I'm getting ready to do that, and I'm going to squeeze it out and seed this tank with bacteria from the Tetra tank. I do have some new bacteria in there from API, but I also want to put in some established bacteria. So I'm going to squeeze that out, and this water's going to look really cloudy for probably a couple days till it settles and filters, and then I'll top it off with some fresh water. But it's needed. Went ahead and did that one too, because that'll be next occupied. I will say this. I started to use this turkey baster to get them out, and then I would, just because I wouldn't know how many of the little orange ones I caught, because they got like the clear ones going over here, and then you got some orange ones still. And I was putting them in this cup, and I was like, well, then I'll separate them. But let me tell you something. They swim really fast, but like this one going through right now, this one, you can just net that thing out So they do get up in the corners of the silicone here, and they're harder to see. I will say that. But I know they're there, so I can just scare them out. And then catch them like that. And then now I've got an orange one. I'm gonna let that one go. So yeah, they're just easier to net. They really are. This little micro net is pretty cool. Telescopes and everything. So that's how I'm getting them out. So you can kind of see them in there moving around. They're too fast to catch on film here, but they've got filter media they can attach to the biofilm. I've got several of them in there. I got to keep going. So yep. So they're getting there. I'll get an update here when I get them all out. Now, since I have shrimps of different age brackets, I'm going to continue pulling these out as they get older and as they get clear. I'm going to leave any of the shrimp that have any kind of orange on their body in the tank to grow out. They can stay in the tank, in the brackish tank, for several days after they've turned white, but you definitely want to make sure they're completely white or clear before you pull them out and put them in fresh water. And you do not need to transition them into a less salinity brackish water before going to fresh water. I've net these straight out of the brackish water tank, put them right into fresh water, and they've been doing great for several days now. I dropped in a couple of bottom feeding pellets for some food, and they're getting biofilm off the filter and the aqua soil and the escapes that are in the tank. So hope you found this informative. I enjoyed making this video, and thanks for watching.